Oh, hello. It's Heather Campbell, and welcome to Curveball. I am here with the magnificent Mama Kate, also AKA Kate White, who's here actually for her second Curveball interview because the first one she actually did from a hospital because she was helping a friend there and just hospital Wi-Fi. We just did not, and lighting too. Like, I am so glad that did not, although I do appreciate you, like, because her friend was like, hey, I need the nurse. She's like, shut up. I'm interviewing for this podcast right now. But I love that I can see your beautiful space because this backdrop behind you is so you. So here's her story. What happens when life throws curveball after curveball? Not just one, not just to your body, but your entire sense of identity. Kate White, this amazing, beautiful, serene woman, has been through it all. Chronic illness, blood clots in the brain. What the flip? Liver disease, fibromyalgia, gastric bypass surgery that really almost challenged the transformation of which challenged her 30-year marriage. And yet somehow she didn't crumble. She cracked wide open. Today, Kate is an advocate of something that I told her. I said, I totally want to steal this idea of joyful anarchy, a philosophy that throws out the rule book, flips the script on self-help, and invites you to rebel lovingly against every should that has ever made you feel small. She's not here to fix you. She's here to help you burn down the parts of your life that never fit you in the first place and build something wild, real, and joyful in its place. Oh my gosh, welcome to Curveball, Kate.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And thank you for doing this again because it was so much fun the first time. I know it's going to be even better this time. So.
I know. And we're not going to have to be worried about like someone rolling by with a crash cart behind you. And if that happens, just we're in serious trouble. So I love this phrase, joyful anarchy. And when we were talking in the pre-show, where I was like, oh my God, we just got to start hitting record. Our conversation is so juicy. But this idea of joyful anarchy just brings me so much joy. So talk to me about, it's so evocative. So what does it mean to you? And how did that concept emerge from your own experience?
Wow, that's a good question. I have to say I'm part of a group, Radical Magic, which is where I met you, Heather. And in my quantum collapse for that, we were talking about the concept of me having hidden myself all my life and really having been in cloaks and cloaked myself, not letting people know that I was spiritualist, not letting people know my political opinions or my opinions on cultural things or my passions because...
No, and of course you were a school principal though, right? Yeah, so I just want to say like you have to stay, I'm not certain, but my hunch is that you as a principal have to stay in a certain lane.
Yeah.
So I can say like, it's not like you ended up in that place like in a reasonable way. Yeah.
Yeah. It started in childhood though, because I always say now I was raised in a seance room. How many people understand what that means? My community knew and they considered it of the devil. And so I started cloaking at a very young age, hiding my feelings, hiding who I was and where I found joy. And so as part of that quantum collapse, I came, oh my gosh, cloaks to capes, that from being cloaked.
Okay, wait. I swear to God, I'm going to start my $1 million business just by making bumper stickers out of things people say on Curveball. From cloaks to capes.
Right. And now it's from cloaks to capes to wings because, not all superheroes fly. And I fly in my dreams. And that's my favorite dream. So I'm going to fly. Anyway, so as part of that, I got all excited and Jason was like, oh my gosh, your joy is palpable. Your joy is so magnetic. And so I just started thinking about that whole joyful concept and he threw it in the chat and came up with some things, but I turned it around into, I am joyful as a revolt. I am joyful in the face of, I am joyful in spite of and despite. And so joyful anarchy just grew out of that.
Yes.
And everything I'm doing falls under that joyful anarchy, from the protest that I wanted to participate in this weekend, but our town's going to be fighting flooding, so we're postponing it. Joyful anarchy.
Right. Yes.
Showing up as my whole self and telling my whole story in a joyful manner,
Right.
Joyful anarchy, not following the prescribed, expected path.
I love that because it sounds like you're going to go to some sort of political protest, and there's obviously so much divisiveness. And I'm just like, we're really like, I just think it's so ridiculous that we don't even get to choose. Here are your two choices. So pick whichever like horrible choice you have. And then people will take that and just judge that person, even if they know you like your whole life. And I just think that is so crazy. So I love this idea of going to that joyfully, because like tell me, like if you're feeling like on one side of the political issue, which I don't have to say either side, because I know that there are people who are vehement on either side. Talk to me about how this shows up.
I love people on both sides. And so it's difficult when both sides are throwing barbs, right? Both sides are trying to cut people off at the knees, both sides or all sides. It's not even just two sides.
Right.
And those who aren't throwing barbs are sitting apathetically on the side, not knowing what to do.
Right.
And so the answer is to come out joyfully and to talk about the things we love and that we want to see continue, or that we want to see reinstated, or that we want to see have a joyful death and go forever goodbye.
Right.
And if that is persecution of, I'm passionate about supporting the LGBTQIA community, I'd love to see persecution of that die.
Right.
A grateful death, let it go away, and let understanding and love be the answer.
Right.
And see that a lot of joy comes from those communities. It is just so amazing to me how often biblical literature, religious literature talks about being as the little child. That is being joyful.
Yes.
That is being in wonder. That is being in curiosity for how someone else feels or why they feel the way they feel.
Right.
And that comes from listening and doing so with a joyful look on your face, not with a
right. You're like,
nobody wants to talk to that.
Yeah, that is so true. It's like, I read this really amazing book. Like I thought I was downloading a book about copywriting, but it actually was like one of these like manifestation books. And I was like, gosh darn it. I didn't really say that. I said, God damn it. And then I was like, oh, okay. So this might be one of those signs from the universe. Like I'm supposed to listen to this book. And it was I listened to all my business books on Audible. So I was listening to it and it was really incredible because it was like rewriting your story, right? So like I could say like, I grew up in a family, like I had a lot of alcoholism, like I had a lot of this, but then I can also rewrite that story to say like, I grew up in a chaotic family because of my family structure. Like I became like a really resilient person. And what's so interesting is this story makes me sad and just this story is also a truth. It's also 100% true, except it makes me feel like full of possibility. So I think it's like that choice. And I like this idea of joyful anarchy because you can almost be an anarchist against your own conditioned responses too, right? Exactly. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Exactly. And that's really where all of this started growing was after I retired, I went into a deep, dark depression. And I thought the days of being depressed were over. That was so youthful, Kate. That was not the mama Kate who,
has all the answers, right? Yeah.
All this time. And so I was deep, dark into it. I was literally pulling the velvet curtain shut into the dark room until my husband got home. And I would get up and put pajama pants on, and maybe take a shower. And
what does that feel like? Like when you're just, I think I had that feeling a little bit. Like I've never had like clinical depression, but I've had situational, like when my mom died. And I just remember I could always get out of bed, but I just remember like my poor clients, like I was just like, there were times I missed deadlines and I was just like, I know that this is so not me. I know that this is wrong. And I also didn't care. And I was so surprised because that's something that all my team, anyone who ever worked with me was like, oh, you were relaxed around a deadline and you didn't care about it? They'd be like, that's highly unusual. But it is. Yeah. So what does that feel like? Like when you're
felt like trying to float in mud and just every part of my body was under the mud. including the nose and mouth, unable to breathe, unable to. And I knew that wasn't where I wanted to live.
Yes.
I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so
you are just such a beautiful, like, you're one of those people that just, I met you through this cohort we're part of. We got to spend 3 days together in New Jersey. And you're just one of those people that you have a big presence. You always wear turquoise blue. So that's like you're just like this radiant and like, I want to be by you. And then you're just like one of those people, like if we could have set up the chairs in a way that I could have just laid down and put my head in your lap, I would have done that. You're one of those people that really holds space for people so well that it's almost hard for my brain to wrap around this idea that you were just literally just slugging through, like just barely getting through.
And that's where the art that is around my room, I started to put my head up and scroll on social media about an hour before my husband would come home. And this woman kept being on there who's an artist. And so I started paying attention, and I joined a 21-day painting and meditation course with Whitney Freya, and it changed my life.
Amazing. Tell me more about that. Yeah.
It not only reconnected me with who I am inside this little Kate that lives inside there, that was wanting to play and wanting to say, get out of bed. Let's go play. Let's blow bubbles. Let's look at the leaves flying. Let's look at clouds.
Right. Let's just stare at a stranger without judgment or shame, and then let's have long, uninterrupted eye contact. I always see babies and they just look at you and I'm just like, okay, never bet on a baby in a staring competition because they're going to win. But they'll just look at you and that's
they'll break by laughing, and that's about it.
That's amazing. I love that. How old, when you think of little Kate, how old do you think your little Kate is? I know my little Heather is like first grade Heather.
4 or younger, because my dad died when I was 4. And after that, I was no longer little. That's when I started being the mama.
Who was the psychic in your family? You said you were born in a seance room. Were you legit born in a seance room?
I was raised in a seance room, not born in one. But no, it was when I was about 2.5, they found that my father was a Methodist minister. My mother was a daughter of a Methodist minister, and they both met at a Methodist college. And so my father had just left the ministry because it wasn't the kind of life they wanted to live. Persecution was high, and what they wanted was love. They wanted joyful anarchy.
Right. Yes.
And so my mother found the Spiritualist church. Her parents had been killed when she was 8 in an auto accident. And so she had always had that ear for paying attention to guidance, and thought it was the trees talking to her, thought it was the bees talking to her. But when she found the Spiritualist church, she realized it had been her parents, and her sister, who died in utero in the car accident, was there with her. Her sister had made a visit to her when she was 3 and said, "I'm going to be your sister." In a vision in the corner of a room, my mother saw her there. After my mother found the Spiritualist church, my Aunt Lisa, her name, came and materialized in front of her. And my mother was like, "Oh my God, you're her. It's you." And she's, "Yeah, I told you I was going to be your sister." And Mom always thought that meant physically in the body. She didn't understand that was even a possibility at 3 or 4 years old.
Right.
And she had 2 older brothers, like way older. 8 and 12 when she was born. So way older to her. So she always wanted a sister. But they found the Spiritualist church, and both of them became mediums. My mother continued in her mediumship. She is a clairvoyant, and she's actually writing the story of her life right now. And my story begins when I was about 3, when they were in the seance rooms, and I used to crawl around in the dark. For those of you who don't know, a seance room is typically fully dark or you can use red light, because white light interrupts the ethereal matter that
I did not know that.
Yeah, that creates the ethereal voice box. It's not because they wanted to be under cloak of darkness. It's because the white light interrupts the energy. So red light is fine. You can see everything in red light. And I used to crawl around on the floor and play with the feet of people so that they would think it was spirit. So literally raised in a seance room. So
Oh my
I got to
gosh.
hear all of the beautiful messages. I got to go on the meditations where they took us into spirit and taught us what life was about and taught us that life goes on, life continues.
Right.
Where part of our philosophy is we speak to the so-called dead because nothing dies, energy doesn't die, and we're
Yes.
energy. So
Right.
we just change form. And so that was reconnecting. The Tara course was reconnecting with those spiritual roots that I really had hidden, wrapped
Amazing.
really tightly inside
Well,
me.
and it makes sense. Like I can see how you went into education having this like childlike,
Yeah,
sense of you. Oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. Like I'll be able to work with kids every single day. And then the path up is it gets like pretty bureaucratic, I would imagine.
it did.
And
It
so
did.
that's so interesting. So what was your first step like when you came out as a spiritualist?
Honestly, it has been like seeing a mummy wrapped up, and
Mm,
it's just unraveling a little at a time and just being willing to say in public, I was raised in a seance room and let people ask questions.
right.
But
Yeah.
honestly, there was always the philosophy coming out, always the philosophy coming out. I
Right.
worked with third graders at the time of 9/11, and I did a heart light meditation. We didn't meditate then, but I did a heart light
Mm,
vision experience with kids. And we would meditate and send love and energy to the people in New York and the people all over the world who were supporting the United States in that time.
right.
And I can remember being in the seance room and them saying there are light centers all around the world that we need your light and your love to be sent to the Middle East right now, or to be
Mm,
sent to Africa right now, or to be sent wherever it was. And so I knew that creating a light center in my classroom was only going to
right.
add to that. And outing myself really was more of a starting to live a little bit more out loud because I
Right.
never really totally hid it. I just didn't call it what it was.
Right. So then I'm assuming you didn't have anyone, or maybe you did, but did anybody when you're like, okay, I'm owning this, I'm just gonna start doing it and
I've had a
not
few
and whatever.
unfriend me.
Like I'm assuming nobody said, oh my God, Kate White, you've absolutely gone crazy. I'm going to terminate my relationship with you immediately. Did
I had
anything
a
like that
few.
happen?
I had a few. They went quietly. They unfriended me.
Okay.
It's always people trying to use
No.
scripture
Oh,
to prove
yes.
me wrong. And if I'm not willing
Hmm.
to listen to scripture, then they'll just go away. And that's fine. Go away
Right.
quietly and we're all friends.
Have you read The Course in Miracles?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a meaty book. It took me like full disclosure, like 4 years to read because I
Yeah.
was just like, holy crap, it's so much. And I really wanted to understand before you like move on. But what's so interesting about that book is that there's so much of the Bible that is misconstrued. Like when God's like, vengeance be mine, he's let me take your vengeance so you don't have any of that negative energy. Give it to
Right.
me so you
That's
can
right.
just joyfully, right?
Yeah.
Like truly,
Jonah
it's
was
like
not,
God, I
Jonah,
remember in that book, it said, God sees you only in creation. And I remember reading that and literally being so relieved.
yeah.
Like I started to weep because God sees you just in love. Like he does
Yeah.
anything else that's not love is just our creation, right? That's ego, it's survival. It's like
Yeah.
we're designed to separate and then come back, is what I
Yeah.
feel. And you have this journey where you go away, you create your own little world. Then you realize love is all there is. I hope that you realize that love is all there is. And then once you start living from that place,
And that's part of our journey. And we sign
right.
up for this course in miracles on this earth plane.
Yeah.
The earth plane is the most difficult school or classroom with the most rigorous standards and the most rigorous courses. And we signed up for the earth plane. We didn't sign
Right.
up for
Are there
another
other
space that was
planes?
easier. Yeah.
Are there other planes?
Yes.
Is the world really flat?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Because the flat, if you've ever seen the flat map, the things that exist outside of like the so-called wall are just like these unbelievable like nations and like places I guess you can go to. That is so interesting. I have a hard time even wrapping my head around that. Like that there's
Well,
something like because I would have no idea. Do we sometimes like in this form, in our earthly form, do we sometimes have memories of other planes we've existed on?
yes, if you choose to have that. Nobody else can tell you, nobody else can access your Akashic record Only you can do that if you decided it was going to be useful to you to complete this Course in Miracles that you're living in this earth plane. Then if your higher self decided that and you in this life activate it, then yes, you can have glimpses, you can have full on memories, you can have the veil completely removed.
Be so cool.
Wouldn't that be freaky?
Have you had a moment like that?
I have not. I still see myself as an infant in understanding all of this. I talk to my mother, you're talking to the adult. She has lived it fully and owned it fully since 1969. I feel like I'm just pulling my head back up out of the sand and willing to re-engage those memories and all of that teaching that I was so lucky to experience, to be able to touch spirit, literally, to have them put their hands in my hands. I don't know anybody else who's had that experience in this life. I've never, in all of my conversations, met anyone else. Why am I being quiet about it? Why would I hold all of this knowledge to myself? Why would I stay in the infancy when progressing through, when being a joyful anarchist is really my way through to that next level of experience and bringing other people along too, and to help them understand that you leaned into this a little, that it's all creation. There is nothing in what we are experiencing that is worth the judgment other people are casting upon us in spirit's eyes, in our higher self's eyes. It is all just, would you criticize yourself for stepping in a mud puddle when there was nowhere else to go? When that was your quickest way through? No, you'd simply change your pants, change your shoes, and maybe build a bridge over that mud puddle if that's your only way through the next time. That's what we're doing in this life, is creating the bridges.
Right. I love that, because like in the Course in Miracles, the two big things how your ego shows up is in judgment and attack, mainly to yourself. And I just think when you're aware of that, like I remember when I read that book, one of the things that I decided to do was like, just ask myself, like, how can I see this situation in love? Because I remember going into a Starbucks and seeing like this really beautiful, like 30-year-old woman who was like really thin. Of course, I'm comparing myself against her, just being like, oh, I hate her. She's so pretty and thin. I bet she's really nice too. And like one of those things. And then I just thought, God, like that was judgment and attack towards this other human being who I have no idea who she is. I know nothing about her. And then towards me. And then I was like, how can I see this with love? And what's so interesting is that negative feeling almost like disappears like a vapor, because like the love like evaporates it. Then you're just like, oh my God, I can love her by just being completely neutral. And then I can be clear on how I'm judging myself and who I'm comparing myself against. Like,
and you can be
it's not fair for somebody in their 50s I like when I'm in yoga and I look at these young 20 somethings and I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, you should not be compare yourself to the other 60-year-old woman in this class. Like that's who you should be comparing, or not even comparing. Yeah.
Be love to you. Be love to you. And that is one of our biggest, there's a big storm here. I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but that is one of the
I just think it was very appropriate. I did hear that thunder and it was right after you said that. The love is you.
One of our biggest missions in this life is to love ourselves through.
Okay. So I get that. I've heard that a fucking 1,000 times. Love yourself. When you love yourself, everything changes. Okay. Give me like what is one small thing? But I also know at the same time, like when you do get into that place, you're just like, okay, there's a reason everyone says you should do this because it totally works. So how do you do that? Like, how do you really do this? Like, okay.
Yesterday I was in a funk. I was participating in an online experience and was comparing myself to all of the big hitters like you and some of the other people in our group, and just going, will I ever? Can I ever? Who am I to? Who do I think I am? And all of a sudden I realized that's another wrap of that mummy wrap that's around me, that's kept me bound, that's kept me trapped. And what I did was use the whole joyful anarchy perspective, is to find joy in other people's experiences first, because it's easier for me to cast it out and to find joy, and then to use that as a mirror in my own life, and to realize that where I am is miles beyond where I was in the bed 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
I'm talking to the people who might still be in the bed. I'm not talking to the people who have risen above where I am. I'm talking to the people who I was 3 years ago.
Right.
Because I've found my way out of that, and I know a way to help them find their way out of it. And so I just did that, to journey through the resistance. That's the J in joyful. Journey through the resistance, sit with it, allow yourself to be there. Then to own my revolution. God bless it. I'm not going through this again. I'm not going to be there. How am I going to stand up and own this? And then to say yes to freedom, to permit myself to say yes to freedom. So that's just the J.O.Y part of joyful. Then you forge new paths. Then you uplift others.
Oh my God. Yes.
And then you lead with the light that you've created yourself.
Right.
So this all starts with ourselves, but it really ends in service to others and to lead with the light that we've picked up along the way.
Right.
Because when we are walking through that dark tunnel and we find this beautiful torch, do we throw it on the ground and keep walking? No, we carry it with us and we lead with that light. You keep that torch with you. And if it goes out, you use another torch to light it back up again.
Right.
And I'm big on those analogies because
I am too. There's no way that, like, it's irrefutable that if you are in a dark room and you open it up, there's light, it will fill the room with light. Like, you cannot, it's beyond, it's just how things work. Light cancels out dark. It just is how it works.
And darkness is light. It's just less light.
Yeah.
Then,
oh my God.
Right?
I'm going to have 7 bumper stickers after this. Legit. This is so amazing.
Yeah.
So there's just like I did this cold plunge in New York City with my daughter, and everyone's just, oh my God, the cold plunge. I'm like, okay, I'll effing do it. I was not excited about it. I did not like it. Like, I was like, I'm glad I tried it. I totally get how people like, but I did not have that euphoric, like, oh my God, I cannot wait to do this again. But like, I just actually wrote an email about this because I thought it was pretty funny, because I'm like, that's cool, but I never have to do it again. And then people would be like, oh no, do it again. Like, you have to push through it. Like, there's like this like, if you're not like cold plunging every morning while journaling about your like Q2 goals, like, people are like, oh, you're some sort of weirdo. When we have this world obsessed with like personal development, especially around spiritual development, because it's easy to, but we're talking about things in I love that, because Jesus was an anarchist, Buddha was an anarchist. Like, I'm assuming Allah was all the biggies are anarchists, because they have to come in and say, look, and they were anarchists. I have this amazing book that's like, it takes the Bible, the Tao, the Bhagavad Gita. I can never say that. The Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu one. What is it? Bhagavad Gita,
I think. But I don't know.
Thank you. I have the hardest time saying that. And then it takes, oh my God, one other, I can't think of the fourth one, but it shows all the parity in the language. And in every single book, like, Jesus says, I am the way. The Tao says, the Tao is the way. There's always something about the way, and love is the way. So it's a really cool book because it shows all the similarities, because every
little one called One, I think.
Ooh.
One. Anyway, it gave just,
I know, I'm sure I'm just writing that down. Like, I'm going to forget that book title, but
take the big things in each religion and point out that they're resonant in every other religion as well.
Yes.
It's all love. It all comes back to love and light is love, and love is light. And we light the world with joy, with our love. Where does joy come from?
Yes.
Joy comes from that love center in your heart. Joy is a love of something that's occurring right now.
Right.
It's leading with love, leading with light.
I interviewed a woman who was a former cardiac nurse, and she teaches heart-centered, like literally your heart has a completely separate electrical system. Your heart is beating when you're an embryo, even before your brain is there. So it's like its own little electrical network. And she's like, it can be hugely powerful. Like, I said, what is one thing I can do? She's like, just put your hands over your heart. And I learned this once from my therapist. When you have your hands over your heart, it's almost, I'm trying to do it right now.
You're closing the circuit.
Yeah. You're almost, it's impossible to have a negative thought when you're holding your hands, especially towards yourself. I'm trying to do it now. And I know I'm trying to do it. It's not a real thought. So I think that's amazing because it is. And then
when I try to do it, there are like little giggles that come up behind it. Like, nice try.
You're not, nice try. You can't.
You know better.
It's just amazing. So how do you, in this obsessed world with spirituality, how do you help people discern between healthy growth and I just had this epiphany, a very quiet epiphany that came from my own instinct that was like, hey, I think you might be listening to other people more than you're listening to yourself. And it wasn't like it wasn't like a divine download like I get when I have a creative strike. This boom, here it is. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was really quiet. Like I almost don't even know if I'm translating it, but it's along these lines
it's like a whisper.
Yeah. And you're giving these other people too much power. Like you're not. And so I know that feeling of doing what you think is the right thing to do. And then what it feels to really move in alignment. And then I realized, okay, a lot of times I was doing what I thought the right thing was to do, what the spiritual thing, what the better thing to do. Right. But it still had a lot of baggage with it. Like now that I know what it's like so how do you help someone discern what's real alignment, what's real healthy growth, and what's some of the things that sound good and we're doing them, but they're not really serving us?
It's just what you just said, listening to that little whisper inside that is.
And it was a whisper. I really had to I was like, say what?
I know exactly. But those whispers are coming from our higher self, from our true self. In my experience, my whispers come from my higher self. They're not coming from spirit going, oh my gosh, you can do this and you can do this. And hey, remember we said we would do this. And remember I told you I would tell you this at this point in your life.
Yes.
It was honey, these are the hard times we talked about. This is where you get to unwrap that mummy wrapping just a little more and allow your heart to be exposed and to sit. And so to tell someone else what to do, it's teaching them how to listen to those whispers because your higher self and your spirit team are going to guide you in that way. What I do for me may not be what's right for you. And so in my experience, when I'm coaching people, I'm coaching them to learn to listen to their own inner guidance and to learn when they hear that whisper to understand that's not something to be dismissed, but it's something to be discovered. And
oh my God, another bumper sticker. I swear to God. Yeah, so I really like that. I like that framing because I know what it feels like. I literally call it a divine download because it's like, I'll be waiting for something, like I'll be working on something and I'm waiting for the tagline or I'm waiting for something like my spark of inspiration to hit. And when it comes in like this, like it literally comes in, boom, here it is. And then that voice is gone. It's, hey, here's your tagline. Good luck. See you later. I'm busy. I got other things to do. And so but this one was so subtle. Like because I think I was waiting for more of that like divine download feeling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It literally came from within. And I was just like, oh, this is my sweet little intuition. And she's not nearly as pushing her way to the front as I am.
Right.
So I was very so appreciative. Like I heard that and I was like, oh, and I'm glad I paid attention because it really changed my whole week around.
Often when those things come through, they're not things like, oh, I need another glass of red wine or it happens in a different way. It's almost an inner blooming of a tiny little flower of awareness that then can close back up, but it's always still right there. You can tune right back into it. It's like the living, breathing little blossom inside that if you listen, it's that lotus of awareness.
I love that analogy. Like, I just love that analogy of just that flower, like opening it. And then it's just always there. And then I think about how I'm such a gardener, so I cannot, oh my God, I have spring fever and it snowed here last night in Colorado. I'm just just when you learn to love again, God said, no, we're going to give you snow. So but how you tend to a garden, like you don't just plant it and then just say, good luck, see you later. You tend to it, you weed it, you water it, you prune it, you take care of it, and you get out as much as you put in. I learned so much about life through my garden. So I just really love that analogy. Okay, if someone is listening right now and they're like, I want to be a little anarchist, what is like a good, how can they, first of all, like, how can they connect with you? Or do you have a resource or something that helps people get in touch with their inner joyful anarchist?
So I'm working on the joyful anarchy part because the joyful anarchy really wraps itself around all of my offerings. And so I do golden thread coaching. I do body odyssey, which is helping people be at home in their own bodies. And
I just love to say body odyssey.
I know,
it's like the best name. I have a lot of jealousy for you. I'm realizing, Kate White, you have an amazing backdrop. You have good names. You've created like 10 bumper stickers just on this call alone. Like, you're on fire. That's amazing.
So I do have 2 journals that are available right now for free download, and I can give you the links to that. And then I am out there on Instagram and Facebook and trying to be out there more on TikTok as Mama Kate's Heart Space.
I love that.
Because everything comes from that heart center, from that heart space, that light, that love all generates from there. Yes. And so I show up in the world every day, a lot of days, with daily love notes and just sharing some of that inner wisdom that dropped down or that blossomed out each day.
I love that.
Because if I'm getting it, it's not just for me. We did not incarnate on this world to be alone. We incarnated because what I have to say might enrich you, might enrich your audience. And we all need to stay linked in that ethereal way where we are allowing that wisdom, just like you've acknowledged. And I, so much that you do is, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? It's your divine download can speak to me. So staying connected is huge.
I really love that idea. And I just know like how you meet some people and like they really change. Like you can have just an interaction with a stranger, and depending on who that stranger is, like they can have a huge just impact on your life. I love how it still keeps life open to all the discovery, all the fun, all the what the flip is going on moments like that are like those curveball moments. But then when you're just like, I feel just so much better after talking to you today, because I just feel like I'm really tapped into my little Holy Spirit, who's just, this, I always envision him as like this cute little turtle, like a turtle.
I want to offer you one more thing with that, because this might help you as well, is so many people talk about healing your inner child.
Yes.
That's bullshit in my world, because yes, we want to heal that inner child, but you want to heal your spirit to your toes. You want to heal that. What you want to allow your inner child to do while your inner child is here is to be your freaking cheerleader. And so I do inner child huddles with people where your little inner child gets to go, oh my God, Heather, I'm so proud of you. You rocked that. You blew that out of the water. Yes. Thank you for letting me play in the rain. Yes, you did it. You went there. I wanted to do that and you did it. And allowing yourself to just hear all the cheerleading that your inner child has to offer you. Because you've done it. You've made it.
You just made me think like your inner child, you are who you are because of your inner child, like some of the coping skills, right? Like that you developed, right? So I think it's interesting when we try to go back to heal, because you just can't, that time has come and gone. But what we can do is use it as information to understand. Like yesterday, I was really triggered by something. And what happens when I get triggered is I get hurt really. And it's surprising for people because they think I'm like such a toughie, and I'm really not. And so I was like, and I will start to cry like a child does. And so I know this is 6-year-old Heather. And then I realized, because there was like a version of myself would be like, okay, you got to get together and pull it together, all this stuff. And then I was just like, no, just let yourself feel. It's like such a real emotion. And then what happens is then that sadness just completely crushes me, that it says, and it's not even clever, but it says stuff like, you're such a failure. Like, this is never going to work. Like, it's just it. And so I get that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like trying to go back to heal your inner child isn't a thing that's possible. It's like, how do you become a better person using this information, understanding when you have those emotions that you're just like, wait, why am I crying? Like, I had this crying thing. I'm not exaggerating, for 2 weeks where I had something happen that was so hurtful to me. I would go to sleep crying. I would wake up and be like, oh, am I going to cry? Just tears coming from my face. I don't even know how I pulled it together for meetings, but I would. And then the second the meeting was over, like the kind of tears that just like coming out of your face.
It's with water.
My husband was like, why are you crying? Like, what is going on? I'm like, I do not know at all. And then I did some trauma work. So then I started to understand. And so I just love that. But trying to go back and trying to fix, like, I don't know. I just think it's not the right place. It's find me today, now. Like, I don't even, it's so funny that you say that, to really embrace your inner child and live through that inner child and let them cheer you on. Because I'm almost like, I don't even want a new and improved version of myself. I seriously just want Heather 1.0, as close to the creator as possible.
Those experiences that happened when we were children, that there's still a thorn in our paw.
Yeah.
And we don't understand that until the tears come. For me, it's tears. What adult Katie gets to do is go scan. Where is this? Where have I felt this before? Oh, there it is. It's 7-year-old Katie. And so I'm not healing 7-year-old Katie. I'm bringing awareness of how 7-year-old Katie felt into 58-year-old Kate.
Right.
And 58-year-old Kate gets to go, oh, I don't respond the way I did when I was 7 anymore.
Right.
And I get to say, oh my gosh, thank you for that awareness.
Right. Yes.
And for the experience, bless the experience for all the ways that through the years it's shown up and allowed you with strength, with fortitude, with tears, with staying under the covers for 3 months. Whatever it did, it allowed you to have the opportunities.
Yes. And I love that it allowed you to be tender with yourself too. Because once I really visualize, because again, there's like the societal narrative, like you got to be positive, like manifest, like you got to have a certain mindset. And so it's like, I just think about how like aggressive, like I just remember when we were on a call with one of our mentors, Jessica, in this group that we're part of, she was just like, oh, if I get this wrong, you guys can call me out and jump down my throat. And I'm just like, we use such aggressive language with ourselves. But now when I feel that way, instead of being like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Get it together. I'll be like, oh, honey, I literally visualized little 6-year-old me with her glasses, her patch on her eye, her orthopedic shoes, her little speech impediment, the whole thing. And I'm just like, and I just hold her and I'm tender with her. And I'm like, thank you for showing me. Thank you for being here. Because I think we can sometimes be so aggressive with ourselves.
And what happens when we hold a child in our lap and tell them we're so sorry and are they okay?
Yes.
Is they get down and they run off and they go play again. So next time that happens, whether it's the next day or the next week, give yourself the opportunity to hear how proud little Heather is of the work you've done. And it will come if you allow her to tell you, yes, you did it. And she might be swinging on a swing next to you and kicking her feet and just going, gosh, I really wanted to go travel to Portugal. And gosh, how fun was that? Or whatever it is that you've done.
I love that. I'm actually going to do that because I remember I had a dream when I was really little, because I have 8 brothers and sisters. And I'm like, I got to get away from this. Like, I'm going to go out on my own. And I was like, I'm going to move to a big city. And so I did. I moved to Chicago, and that was like a dream that I had, to live in a big city. My mom was always like, I always knew you would be like my big city kid. And my older sister had moved there before me. So it was like, there was still some family there. And it was like, that is something to be really proud of, like something that you've been dreaming of since you were like a little kid and then doing it. So I love that exercise. Like, look, it just makes me happy to think about that. And even
if it's that you chose to not do that because you as the adult Heather had better insight, she will still cheer you on and be like, oh my gosh, you were so right. Gosh, this is so much more fun than living in Chicago.
Oh, I love that.
Inner child huddle. Let all of your inner children surround you in a huddle and just do the high five that teams do. Go, Heather.
I love this. Go, Kate White. Go, Mama Kate. I love the work that you're doing. And you have really just, I like to talk about spiritual healing, and that I've interviewed quite a few people for Curveball with things along those lines. This is like such a novel way of approaching it that I just feel is super congruent with like my rock and roll lifestyle too. I like this idea of being a joyful anarchist. That's amazing. You got to create some merch like immediately with some of your art on it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on Curveball. This has been an absolute joy.
Thank you. So fun.